You know that feeling, right? You walk into a training session, everything looks great on paper, but in person, it's a complete disaster. It's so frustrating. Well, today, we're going to dig into why even the most well-designed training can sometimes fail so spectacularly. So picture this. You've spent weeks designing this perfect course. You've got awesome activities, role-playing scenarios, the whole shebang. But just 1 hour in, you're looking at a full-on mutiny. People are refusing to participate, and this isn't just a hypothetical. It's a real-world nightmare for trainers. So, what on earth went wrong? Was the content bad? Was the delivery off? Or was it something deeper? Something the designer missed completely? That's the mystery we're going to solve right now. To crack this case, we have to start with the fundamentals. We need to get a handle on the basic operating systems of how our brains actually learn things. Think of it like this. Every great trainer has a toolkit. And inside that toolkit are three major theories of learning. Now, these aren't competing philosophies that you have to choose between. Nope, they're just different tools for different jobs. What's so cool about this is you can see a clear evolution here. We start with behaviorism, where learning is just a change in what you do. Then, cognitivism starts peeking inside the brain, seeing it as information processing. But then, you get to constructivism, and bam, the learner is an active creator of their own meaning. Just look at how the role of the learner changes, from passive to active processor to active creator. It's a huge shift. All right, first up is behaviorism. This one's pretty simple. It's all about stimulus and response. You see a flashcard, you give the right answer, you get a reward. It's all about observable actions, which makes it absolutely perfect for drilling things like facts or procedures through tons of practice and reinforcement. Next up is cognitivism. This theory is all about opening up the black box of the mind. It asks, how do we actually process information? How do we organize it, store it away, and then, critically, pull it back out when we need it? Think of the brain as a sophisticated computer, building mental maps to solve problems. And our third tool is constructivism. This is where things get really cool. The idea here is that we aren't just empty vessels or computer processors, we are builders. We actively construct our own unique understanding of the world by filtering everything new through the lens of what we already know. Learning isn't just getting facts, it's creating personal meaning. So here's the absolute crucial point. Behaviorism and cognitivism, they both basically assume that knowledge is a thing that gets transferred from the outside world into the learner's head. But constructivism, it flips that entire idea on its head. It says that the learner creates meaning from within. This one distinction changes everything. Okay, so with these powerful theories in our toolkit, let's get back to our training that bombed. The designer understood how people learn in theory, but they forgot to ask the single most important question. Who exactly was in the room? And here's what they missed. The room had this unspoken but super rigid pecking order. You had people with wildly different jobs, programmers, managers, artists, all thrown together. Their actual work, the important negotiations, all happened online, which made these in-person role plays feel totally pointless and fake. And frankly, some of the specialists just felt the whole exercise was beneath them. See, the problem wasn't the content, it was a complete clash with the context of their lives. This right here is the key takeaway. The fix wasn't to find a better learning theory. The solution was better learner analysis. Understanding the who-am, their culture, their attitudes, their day-to-day reality, is every bit as critical as understanding the how of learning, maybe even more so. So what does that analysis actually look like? Well, you have to know their experience level, you have to know their motivation for even being there, what do they already know coming in, and what do they honestly expect to get out of it? Getting the answers to these questions changes your entire approach. But here's a really surprising twist. While you should be analyzing all those other things, there's one really popular idea you should probably just ignore. And that's the concept of learning styles. You know the whole I'm a visual learner or I'm an auditory learner thing? Now, I know this might sound controversial, but the research on this is just overwhelming. Study after study has come to the exact same conclusion. There is simply no good evidence that matching your teaching method to a person's supposed learning style actually improves learning. It's a popular myth, but it's not a solid foundation for designing anything. Okay, so now we can finally put all the pieces together. We have our learning theories, that's our toolkit, and we have our learner analysis, that's our blueprint. So how do we pick the right tool for the job? The critical question is never which theory is best. That's just the wrong way to think about it. The right question is, which theory is going to be the most effective for this specific person learning this specific thing right now? Context is absolutely king. And you can see how a learner's needs change over time on this path from novice to expert. A total novice? They just need the basic facts, the what. A competent learner? They need to know how to apply those rules, the how. But an expert has to navigate those messy, unpredictable problems where the rules don't always work. And here's where it all comes together so beautifully. For that novice who's just learning the ropes, behavioral approaches work great. Repetition, practice, clear feedback, perfect. For the competent learner who's applying rules, cognitive strategies are your go-to. Help them organize information, help them problem solve. And for that expert who's tackling complex, murky challenges, that's when you need a constructivist approach. You let them build their own solutions in realistic, messy situations. So these principles are pretty timeless, right? But how do they hold up in our crazy, hyper-connected digital world? Has anything fundamentally actually changed about how we should approach learning? Well, one of the single biggest shifts is the incredible rise of constructivism. I mean, when information is everywhere all the time, the goal isn't just memorizing facts anymore. It's about using that information to solve complex problems. Today's digital natives expect to learn by doing, by collaborating, and by creating. I absolutely love this quote because it just perfectly captures our new reality. With social media, endless online content, and collaborative tools, learning isn't a one-way street anymore. It's this dynamic, ongoing conversation. We're constantly learning with and from each other, building and rebuilding our understanding of the world together. Which leaves us with this final big question to chew on. Our technology, our tools for teaching, they're evolving at a dizzying pace. But have the fundamental principles of how our brains are wired to learn, have those changed at all? Or are we just finding new, more powerful ways to apply the same timeless rules? Something to think about.